Major blizzard on the move tonight, 20 states, 1,000 flights affected. But we do begin tonight with that horrific scene in Durham, North Carolina, a massive explosion. It happened after a call about a gas leak near downtown, a downtown building, in fact. Firefighters answering the call. They were trying to evacuate people when the massive explosion then happened. Fire, smoke, and the scene of devastation tonight. Firefighters then battling the flames and looking for the injured, rushing them to get them help. Tonight, we know at least one person is dead, several others critically injured, and ABC's Chief National Affairs Correspondent Tom Yamas is on the scene for you, and we warn you, the images are difficult.
Tonight, that deadly gas explosion rocking downtown Durham. People running from the blast, covered in blood, as firefighters ran in, facing off with a giant fireball and smoke that could be seen for miles. Emergency crews now digging through this mountain of rubble, making sure no one is still trapped.
We just heard a loud explosion, like boom!
City officials say at 9:38 this morning, the fire department was on site, responding to reports of a gas leak, likely from a construction crew in the area that hit a natural gas line. Then, at 10:07, as evacuations were underway, that massive blast.
The whole building shook. It was like intense. I feel like I felt it through my whole body.
Watch as this nearby bridge cam captured the impact and sound of the blast. The explosion killing at least one person. 17 others rushed to the hospital. 6 in critical condition tonight.
Oh my God.
The destruction seen from every angle.
This is our first up-close look at some of the destruction, and everywhere you look, there are bricks and glass everywhere. You can see how powerful the blast was. 5 buildings were affected. Across the street, all the windows blown out. In the building just next door, you can see the windows are gone as well, and the roof has caved in.
All you see is just a cloud of smoke go up, and then you see the building just slowly crumble down.
Students at a nearby school were forced to evacuate. Several businesses damaged or destroyed, including one housing a world-class vintage Porsche collection. The cars, like this stretch of downtown Durham, ravaged.
Just a stunning scene tonight. Tom Yamas is live on the scene for us. And Tom, I know you're hearing from officials tonight that search and rescue teams could actually be on the scene for days there.
That's right, David, and actually right now they're using both video and listening devices because there's a mound of rubble. They want to make sure they don't miss anything. They're also going to have to tunnel under that debris. Now, David, we've covered a lot of home explosions, gas explosions here on World News, but I've never seen anything quite like this. The brick building exploded, sending bricks as big as this shooting out nearly 100 yards. One eyewitness, David, told me it sounded like an earthquake.
Just incredible. Tom Yamas, our thanks to you for getting right to the scene there for us today. In the meantime, we turn next tonight to the other major headline unfolding right now. That major blizzard on the move at this hour, 20 states, a potentially historic storm, more than 1,000 flights canceled or delayed. In fact, more than 800 flights in Denver alone. You can see snow and whiteout conditions. In fact, these images are from Watertown, South Dakota tonight. Interstate 29 there, shut down for 100 miles. At this hour, the storm is gaining strength, conditions worsening as it heads east. We have the track tonight as we head into the night, and ABC's Clayton Sandell is in the storm zone for us.
Tonight, spring might be on the calendar, but a powerful blizzard is bringing winter back to millions. In South Dakota, cars off the road, winds above 50 miles an hour, creating whiteout conditions. The Highway Patrol shutting down more than 100 miles of Interstate 29. The system even bringing thunder snow. On Interstate 90 in Billings, Montana, watches an SUV driving too fast, nearly slams into a roadside assistance vehicle. At Denver's airport, a major hub, more than 850 flights delayed or canceled. Colorado's governor activating the National Guard in case drivers get stranded. To the south, the leading edge of the cold front spawning this gustnado near Pueblo. And in the west, winds gusting about 45 miles an hour, fanning a fast-moving brush fire in Palm Springs, California, Tuesday evening, prompting evacuations, downing trees and power lines in LA County. And in southeast Washington state, streets submerged in Pullman. Firefighters using a front-end loader to rescue a man trapped after a rain-soaked creek jumped its banks.
Clayton Sandell with us live tonight from Interstate 25, a very white Denver there behind you. And Clayton, I know traffic is moving right now, but authorities are concerned this is getting worse as we head into the night, and they're nervous about drivers headed out.
That's right, David. Officials here say they are taking no chances. They're already starting to shut down some major interstates here before conditions get so bad that they might be stranded in their cars. You'll remember last time, some people were trapped in their vehicles for more than 24 hours. David?
Yes, we remember it well. Clayton Sendell, our thanks to you. Rob Marciano would be the first to tell you that this is not all that uncommon in April snowstorms, but this one could be historic.
And it's really strong, David. Also, it's moving really slowly. Some of these blizzard warnings are going to be up for 36 hours and a huge wind field with this. As far south as Texas could see winds over 50 miles an hour. Denver getting the worst of it tonight as the low bottoms out in through Kansas. Some strong thunderstorms between Chicago and St. Louis tomorrow in the warm sector. The cold sector, though, blizzard conditions, 1 to 2 inch snowfall rates per hour and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Look how slowly it moves, though. Thursday night to Friday morning, still snowing in St. Cloud Friday morning. And as far as snow totals go, 1 to 2 feet of snow from Nebraska through Minnesota. It doesn't feel like April, David. All right, we're thinking about everyone in the storm zone tonight. Rob, thank you. Now to the major headline involving the president's attorney general tonight, what William Barr said today on Capitol Hill about spying on the Trump campaign. He said spying did occur, in fact, and he revealed he will set up a team to investigate. But Democrats today wanted to know something else. How Barr determined that there was no obstruction of justice when Robert Mueller declined to answer that question. Mary Bruce on the Hill for it all.
On Capitol Hill today, a startling declaration from the Attorney General. Bill Barr saying the U.S. government spied on the Trump campaign.
I think spying on a political campaign is a big deal.
So you're not suggesting, though, that spying occurred?
I don't, I guess you could, I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
He appears to be talking about the FBI's 2016 surveillance effort to determine whether any Trump associates were involved with the Russians. The big question, Barr says, was it warranted? Today, he acknowledged he's seen no specific evidence of wrongdoing, but he's putting together a team to find out for sure.
I am not saying that improper surveillance occurred. I'm saying that I am concerned about it and looking into it.
The president has been demanding this, an investigation into the Russia investigation.
And this was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president. And we beat them. We beat them.
Democrats today, alarmed by Barr's announcement, are questioning his independence.
You think he's doing the bidding of the president here?
Yes, I'm sure this is exactly what the president wanted him to say.
They're also frustrated that for now, the attorney general won't discuss how he reached his own conclusion that the president did not obstruct justice, even though special counsel Robert Mueller did not make a determination.
Mr. Attorney General, the thing is, you put this out there. I mean, the president went out and tweeted the next day that he was exonerated. That wasn't based on anything in the Mueller report with respect to obstruction of justice. That was based on your assessment.
All right, so this was day 2. Mary Bruce was there for it all. And Mary, there's also news tonight on the president's tax returns. Today was the deadline. House Democrats had demanded 6 years worth of returns. They gave the IRS until today to respond. No tax returns. And here's what the president said today.
I would love to give them, but I'm not going to do it while I'm under audit. It's very simple. Remember, I got elected last time, the same exact issue, with the same intensity, which wasn't very much. Because, frankly, the people don't care.
Mary, the president quite clear there. He said Americans don't care. Last time he got elected, he said he's still under audit. So what now?
Well, David, Democrats are not giving up, but they are being methodical about this. They're not going to rush to subpoena. Instead, they're going to double down on this request. They seem to be playing the long game here, laying the groundwork in case they need to fight this in court. David.
Mary Bruce with us again tonight. Thank you, Mary. We turn now to the deadly bus crash today. The truck barreling through an intersection and right into a school bus and other vehicles. Dash cam video tonight showing the collision. You see the school bus right there, and then that truck comes right into the intersection, slamming into several vehicles. In fact, it happened in Clinton, Maryland. The driver of a car was killed, trapped between the bus and the truck. Several others hurt, including students. ABC's David Curley covers transportation.
It's a bus carrying high schoolers around 6 in the morning when out of nowhere, a semi-truck plows into that bus. And it's difficult to see, but between the bus and the truck is a car that is squeezed, crushed between the two larger vehicles. The female driver in that car was killed. 2 students, the bus driver, and 3 others were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
I do want to confirm that the students on that bus and the driver are okay.
Police would not confirm what the video appears to show, that the tractor trailer runs through a red light at the intersection, trying to turn, but barreling into that car as it overturns and then into the bus. The NTSB does not plan to investigate this accident. But the federal government does tell us that on average there are 10 deadly school bus crashes every year on our roads. David Curley with us tonight. David, thank you. Next to new reporting tonight on that deadly police standoff. We have reported on the body cam here before. Those two officers called to a home in suburban Atlanta. The officers running up to that home, then coming under fire when they got to the front door. Both were shot. Both survived. And tonight, right here, we hear from them. We have now learned what they thought they were responding to. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
The two suburban Atlanta police officers seen in this body camera video suffering gunshot wounds during a routine police call are telling our station in Atlanta tonight that they thought they were responding to a woman in labor, but the pregnant woman was already dead.
As soon as I kicked in the door, about 2 seconds later, the guy started putting rounds on me.
Shots fired, shots fired. Inside the house, 47-year-old Anthony Bailey was promising to shoot them dead too if they didn't leave.
Not coming here. I got a lot of shots.
Officer Keegan Merritt, seen here, was shot in the hand.
It stunned me, but I knew that he could see me and I couldn't see him, and I was in a bad spot.
Officer Taylor Webb was shot in the chest and the hip and was hiding in this garage before he was set free. After a 17-hour standoff, no one inside the home survived, including the gunman, who police say killed himself.
The worst thing that happened through the entire incident is that civilians lost their lives.
The officers tonight say they're glad that they were the ones who showed up first and not firefighters. David?
All right, Steve, thank you. And now to the anger boiling on Capitol Hill today, aimed squarely at the pharmaceutical companies hiking prices over something many Americans need, insulin. The House Energy and Commerce Committee grilling representatives from 3 of the nation's biggest pharmaceutical companies over skyrocketing prices.
I don't know how you people sleep at night. I just want you to know your days are numbered.
The executives answering that the prices are high partly because they say they need to spend more money to research better drugs. We turn to an alarming headline tonight about a beloved high school principal who underwent surgery to donate bone marrow to a stranger, a little boy in need of help. That principal then suffering complications and dying. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
One final act of kindness is being remembered tonight as this New Jersey high school grieves the loss of their principal. Dr. Derek Nelson, just 44 years old, died unexpectedly over the weekend after recently donating bone marrow.
Even if you never even spoke a word with him, his impact was felt the moment you walked in as a freshman.
According to the Westfield High School newspaper, Nelson was contacted by a bone marrow program, telling him he was a match for a 14-year-old boy in France. Nelson reportedly telling the paper at the time, if it's just a little bit of pain for a little bit of time that can give someone years of joy, it's all worth it. His fiancée telling ABC News that he suffered complications after his donation, saying his last kind and generous act on this earth, in giving so someone else might live, is a true testament to who he was.
And David, doctors stress that complications from bone marrow donations are extremely rare. Nelson is survived by his 6-year-old daughter. David?
All right, Lindsay Davis tonight. Thank you, Lindsay. And tonight, the Pentagon has now released the names of the 3 U.S. Marines killed in Afghanistan this week. They are Corporal Robert Hendricks from Locust Valley, New York, Sergeant Benjamin Hines from York, Pennsylvania, and Staff Sergeant Christopher Slupman, a New York City firefighter who we reported on last night here. Their convoy was hit by a roadside bomb on Monday near Bagram Air Base. The Taliban is claiming responsibility. There is tonight to your money. The average price of gas now at $2.74 a gallon and rising. In some places, topping $4. ABC's Adrienne Bankert on the best day to buy gas and the worst. She's out to save your money.
Tonight, it's getting a lot more expensive to gas up your car.
4 days ago, we filled up and it was 20 cents cheaper.
Here in California, they're bracing for the highest prices in 5 years. The average now at $3.72 a gallon. But at this station, nearly $4.50.
Almost $5 just to get 1 gallon of gas. That's crazy.
Those price spikes fueled in part by refinery outages and floods hurting ethanol production. But experts say there are ways to conserve gas.
Adjust your driving habits. Avoid those jackrabbit starts and stops. You know, aggressive driving is not only unsafe, it's also more costly.
To save money, Gas Buddy found the best and worst days to fill up in each state. Monday is the cheapest day to buy gas on average, and weekends are the most expensive days across more than half the country.
David, analysts say that the price of gas is expected to go up again by this weekend. David?
Adrian, thank you. When we come back to the index of other news tonight, authorities late today identifying the bodies of a missing couple from Westchester, New York. Police say Orlando Muir and Portia Robinville died on their way to the airport there. They were headed home. Authorities say their rental car veered off a highway, sinking into the Caribbean. Authorities using this new video tonight to warn everyone about distracted driving. Take a look, a car slamming into the back of a New York DOT truck on the Taconic Parkway. The driver was not seriously injured, but was ticketed for unsafe driving and was distracted. One of the great mysteries of the universe tonight, astronomers have revealed the first image ever of a black hole, some 55 million light years away in the M87 galaxy. The Event Horizon Telescope finding a ring of light, look at it, around the black abyss. Its size, its mass is 6.5 billion times the mass of our sun.
One of the most.
Finally, he got all of the answers right. Then they asked him how.
From New York City, Mr. Charles Van Doren.
For 14 weeks back in the mid-1950s, a nation was transfixed. Tens of millions were watching as Charles Van Doren got the questions right. The quiz show 21.
Did he behead Catherine Howard? He did. You got 18 points.
It appeared at times he was struggling to find the answers. No one knew. He already knew them.
Oh, yes. I know his name, Mrs. Wells. Halleck. General H.W. Halleck. You're right. You have 8 points.
The role played by Ralph Fiennes in the movie Quiz Show.
Halleck. General H.W. Halleck. You have 21.
Charles Van Doren won a lot of money, the equivalent today of more than $1 million.
Congratulations for a wonderful victory.
He was on the cover of Time, but amid growing questions about the quiz shows of that time.
The dramatic climax of the probe of fixed and rigged quiz shows.
Van Doren would tell congressional investigators he had the questions and answers in advance. There were many other contestants too, but Charles Van Doren would become the face of it.
And for his wealth and fame, he paid a bitterly high price.
After the scandal, after losing his teaching job at Columbia, Van Doren would say he was foolish.
I hope nobody ever gets in this situation. I really hope that they never do. But there's only one way to live with it if you do, and that is to tell the truth.
Years later, he would say he created his life all over again. In his words, the result was something terrific. He and his wife had children, grandchildren. He was determined to read more, write more, to discover more. After a nation discovered that all of those answers on that quiz show were not what they seemed. A fascinating piece of history. I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right here tomorrow.